Welcome to the Nintendo Rewind. I'm Cody Christian. I'm joined by my co-host Josh Taylor, hosting the premier podcast covering all the latest news, announcements, and reviews from Nintendo. We are rewinding and recapping last week for Nintendo. But before we dive in, Joshua, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, man?
Going fine, cruising right along with the jobs and everything else. I am totally awake and I'm ready to go. I don't care how tired I look. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk about this. It's pretty interesting. I'll give you that. I think we were on two different sides of some of our conversation to an extent. I think we've come a little closer to an understanding. But looking forward to talking about all this.
Just gentle debate and convincing you to come over to the but that's spoilers for later in the show, so I'm not going to spoil it too much. But absolutely Ms. Nerdwire in the live chat saying "fight" in all caps. I've got to hit her with that Donkey Kong note.
This isn't Twitter or X or whatever. This we can slightly differ on some things and not hate each other.
Can we? Yeah, I mean, yes, we can. We absolutely can.
That's actually a human thing that's very possible. I know not everybody believes that. But
oh, man.
I won't cancel you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate you so very much. Did you play any games this last week, or were you just too busy with life?
Oh, I find ways. I don't care if I have to lose sleep or not. So, I got in a couple different things there. I played a lot of Splatoon 3 Side Order.
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying to get through that. I've got through my first full run of it. I think I've gotten through two other since then, I believe. And then like the last one I tried earlier today was the bucket, and I got to the last hit of the last boss and lost my last life, so that was great. But no, it's really good. It's a little repetitive, but I like it. I see how that kind of game can grab people, can kind of get addicting. I'm usually not like a big, I think they call them roguelikes or whatever, or roguelites rather. I don't play a whole lot of those. Hades was one I really loved, but no, I enjoy it. Other than that, I'd say the thing I played the most of was Penny's Big Breakaway, which I'd been looking forward to since it was announced. I love Sonic Mania. I've put an insane amount of time into that game and replayed it. And this is completely different than that. This is like a whole new IP, indie studio now. Evening Star, and it's really good. It took a minute. I think the more I play it, the more I like it. Like it took a minute for me to come to grips with it. But honestly, the further I've gotten into it, the more I've gotten used to how things handle and what does what. It's really nice.
How far are you in on it? Because I only did like a world and a half on that, and maybe not even a half. I think I did like the first level of the second world. I haven't had time to go back to it because I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I've just been doing a lot of stuff, but a lot of other stuff. But I want to go back and play some more of that. How far did you make it? How much have you enjoyed it?
I think I've made it to like the fourth world or so, like 4-2 or whatever. No, I haven't done all the side stuff. Like there's like 3 coins and 3 like people you can help in each level. So some of those are pretty difficult, which I like going after all the extra stuff. But some of them, maybe it's kind of one little complaint is like some of the levels can be like 10 minutes long. And then like you get like 30 seconds at most to help some character that's like, hey, go do this, and the time's already going.
Yeah.
And then if you don't do it, you don't get to walk back and do it again. They're like, oh, too bad you didn't do it.
Yep.
You have to do the whole level again. That's a little irritating, but overall, like I've just tried to just keep going, and I'll maybe go back and worry about that later. But overall, it's really nice. I like it. And of course, T. Lopes does the soundtrack, and
it's a banger.
Great.
It's real good. It's really, really, really good. I would agree with you. T. Lopes, like, dude, like, I would pay some decent actual money for like a theme song written by him for the show. Like it'd be so good. Yeah. It'd be cool.
Yeah, he's one of the good ones.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm glad you've enjoyed it, and I'm glad that they put out something that like definitely like when I think about games like Sonic the Hedgehog, Donkey Kong, all that jazz, like I automatically associate it with Josh Taylor. So like it's like one of those games that I was like, yeah, that's a Josh game. That's a Josh game. Playing it, I was like, oh, this is exactly up Josh's alley because it's one of those things where one of the things I've talked about with Rare and even like Platonix, like platforming mechanics, the way that like the movement is, it's a little bit on the floatier side. And I know you really like that. Like you like that kind of movement.
It's different, yeah.
And so like Penny, like when you're playing it, it's very much like that too. So like it's cool. It's cool. Oh man. Anything else on your mind? Anything else cool happened to you this past week?
I'm just still moving along with the book stuff. Sold a few more early copies. So we've got that out going around and getting the whatchamacallit, the official release party stuff planned and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, I'm looking forward to keeping that moving. Already writing the second one. So yeah, that's all been really exciting.
Dude, that's awesome. Can I just say, and it was something I just realized, and I mentioned it right before we went live to Josh, but like this is our 14th episode. We've been doing this for 14 weeks, and it's one of those things that like, you know, when I originally like started the idea and then asked Josh to join me, and I was like, I want to do something, and I want somebody who's knowledgeable. I come up with ideas all the time that never see the light of day or don't come to fruition. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I never do it. But like, this has been something that's been really, really cool, and I'm glad that we've taken the time to do it. We've done some really, really cool stuff on here. And I'm happy that the show is continuing to be successful. I'd like to see it grow just a little bit more quickly. It grows from time to time, but I want it to grow more quickly. And I think that's everybody's kind of feeling on something they're pouring their heart and soul into, but it's been good. Like, I want to thank the viewers and the listeners for popping in on a week by week basis live at 9:30 on a random Tuesday evening. So like, it's good. It's good. Thank you guys for being here. But you know, my past week, it was actually not very eventful, and I'll tell you why. Okay, I'll tell you exactly why. So I don't know if you could hear it on last week's episode, but my GPU fan was running hard and heavy every time I talk, because I have like a noise limiter on the background. So like if I'm not talking, my microphone's not picking up anything, as long as it's not over a certain amount of decibels. But on Tuesday, we got through doing the episode. I exported the episode, got it uploaded to YouTube. I got up the next morning to edit some stuff. And then when I was working on my computer, everything started lagging on my screens. And I was like, oh no, what the heck is happening? Why is this happening to me? No more. I thought I'd fix the problems because we didn't have a single crash during the episode last week. It was great. But what ended up happening is I restarted my computer. I loaded up MSI Afterburner to see, you know, all the stats of my computer, and my GPU was running at 94 degrees Celsius. So for those of you in the Celsius realms, that's boiling water almost. Like, it was hot.
It's hot.
I was like, oh no. So I look underneath. The fan is not running. So all the noise that we heard on last week's episode was my fan grinding to a halt. So
my GameCube did that once, actually.
Oh, no. So anyway,
something like that. We dumped powdered sugar in it. It's a long story, not on purpose. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we should share that on a future episode.
Keep moving. If Stupid Cal's in the chat, he probably knows what I'm talking about, if you remember. So I think he was there.
Oh man.
Anyway.
So I ordered a new fan. I powered off the PC. I never booted it back up again until the fan came in. But during that time, I was able to pick up Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I didn't even know it was out on Friday. I saw a ton of people start talking about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is out. I want to do it. I want to play it. So I ended up buying it. I love the first part of Remake. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's really good. What I've played of it, like really, really good. And what I've played of it is quite a bit. I spent about 8 hours in that world. And I'm like 25% through main story according to like the PlayStation home menu. And I know, look, we're a Nintendo podcast and I'm talking about PlayStation, the blasphemy, the hypocrisy, but it's really good. It's really good.
It does look good.
So that was like my Friday. Saturday, the new fan replacement came in. I ended up doing the replacement on the fan itself to get my GPU back going again. They make those things miserable to open up. the screws to remove the fan module are like deep inside where you can't fit a screwdriver. So I just had my fingers and the bit that I had on my screwdriver twisting inside of this like very like claustrophobic unit. Got that replaced, put it back in. We're golden. We're able to run the show again. It's quiet as a mouse. It's beautiful. And then I started Mario Month. Yesterday on Monday. On my stream, so I'm like running through all 19 of the canonical Mario games that we've deemed canonical on my channel, all of Mushroom Memoirs. Maybe we'll do an episode on that someday. Maybe we should. But that being said,
Historia of it.
Yeah, the Hyrule Historia of Mario. Yeah. But it's been good. It's been good. I got through 5.5 worlds, or my apologies, 4.5 worlds. I got to 5-4. There's only 6 worlds in Yoshi's Island. I got to 5-4, and then my thumb was numb by the end of it, and I was like, I can't finish this tonight. And I did that in about like 3 hours, which was amazing that I got as far as I did in about 3 hours. So I'll take that as a win. But that's what my last week was, man. And then today we've just been doing. I did prep for the show, threw together a thumbnail. Took my kiddo to his art class, came back, took a nap because I went out in public and I was like, I'm tired. I need a nap. So that was what my week was, man. But we do want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys again for all the support and everything that you're doing. If you are a fan of Nintendo yourself and you have friends who are fans of Nintendo, don't hesitate to share the show with other people. We're on YouTube, so you can send them the YouTube link. And then realistically, we just kind of want to grow the show and have as many people enjoy what we talk about as possible. But without any further ado, Josh, we're going to go to my Nintendo news.
All right.
Now you can go.
I am trying to get used to the transitions myself here, everybody. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with this smart.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, do you remember that guy before we do this? You remember the guy, his Bowser vids or something like that was what his username was, and he always like pretended to be this like Arby's. The big one that blew up was he was an Arby's worker. But someone had crashed through there, and he like talked about all kinds of stuff, and he just kept going, I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
So good. It was so good. Anyway, take it away. It's pretty cool.
Anyway. So for the digital physical rewards news for MyNintendo smart device PC rewards, we've got the March calendar wallpaper for Pikmin 4, which kind of neat with the calendar wallpapers at least. They are 0 platinum points. We have the wallpaper for Mario versus Donkey Kong, Mini Mario.
Dude, I love that wallpaper too, by the way. Like, it is aesthetically pleasing for some reason.
Yeah, they are pretty nice, actually. I don't have it as my current background right now. Mine is actually my book cover, but I've used them a couple times. Now, there is a new sweepstakes. There's a MyNintendo. I'm probably going to say this wrong. It has to be wrong. Well, I'm reading this as Black Milk X Super Mario.
Black Milk by Super Mario.
Is that what it is? Anyway,
that's what the X means.
I think I saw the pictures of it already. So, it's 10 platinum points, max 3 entries. If you've done the sweepstakes on there before, you know exactly what they're talking about there. But it's like different sorts of, I guess it's a sort of clothing company, from what I can tell. So there you go. You can check out the pictures there of it.
Dude, I showed my wife the sweepstakes, and she was like, I like those clothes. I would not look good in them, was immediately what she said to me. I was like, no, you'd look great in anything, baby girl. But you have to have a certain level of confidence to go out in this level of crop top. I wouldn't look good in them. Maybe I would.
You
Who
should
knows?
Do it.
If I win it, I'm wearing it every day of the week whenever we do Nintendo Rewind.
That should be like a Patreon reward or something.
Yes.
No. The other one is my Nintendo Lego Super Mario Sweepstakes, 10 platinum points, max 3 redemptions. And we'll pull that up on the screen as well there. Of course. There's some pretty cool Lego Mario stuff. We've got a good handful of sets here, ourselves here. I got my little Diddy Kong sitting right here. I have to show that one off. But yeah, there you go.
I hadn't seen the Dory Sunken Shipwreck Adventure expansion set. That's the first time I've seen that one. With Dory there. And I absolutely want it. And I haven't gotten the Bowser's Car Muscle expansion set yet. Because I don't need another Bowser.
It's too expensive.
He just chills on my back anyway, and like on one of my shelves in the background. And I mean, I have the Bowser's Castle, so I don't need the extra Bowser. But the car looks cool. The car looks so cool.
It's fun. Yeah, it's neat. I don't know if you'd need it without Bowser. Then it's just kind of that car. But
right.
It's still kind of cool. Now the next one here, and I lost track there. Start talking about Legos. There is 2 new physical rewards. One is a Super Mario removable text stickers set there. It is 300 platinum points. So yeah, there's obviously a few Mario things here at the whole Mario Day thing coming up. So there's a little look at those. Not bad. It's kind of one of those. It's like, hey, I'm already paying $8 in shipping. Let's add some stickers.
Yes.
Sort of deal. And then they don't look bad if you have a place to put them. The other one is a Mario zipper pouch for 800 platinum points. And it looks kind of small, but I guess if you have the right thing for it, like I don't think you're fitting pencils in it or something. But
no, it looks like a change purse, like a coin purse kind of situation.
Someone's got a use for it. But it is. I think I already said it's 800 platinum points. And outside of that, we kind of move on to the next part because there is something a little more interesting about the digital rewards or the icons. There is still this Splatoon 3 Icon Wave 3 up. It is available until March the 7th, which I believe is Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, along with that, there are Super Mario World icons. So, the old Super Nintendo game. But you have to get them. I'm going to do the best I can to explain this. By playing the game at least once, they are available until April 1st. So basically, you can't even access these icons unless you have turned on that game in your Super Nintendo app. Granted, you don't really have to play it. You can just kind of turn it on.
You just boot it up and it gives you access, right? So if you go into Nintendo Switch Online, Super Nintendo section, and then boot up Super Mario World, you get access to these. I haven't done it yet. I saw you did it. You posted a new icon on Twitter with the Yoshi guy.
I'm the little fat baby Yoshi right now.
That's the best icon on here.
It's actually the it's actually the old artwork from then. It's nothing new. It's actually like the little 2D not hand drawn, whatever it is. I'm going to call it something wrong, but no, I appreciate that. I kind of like. I saw somebody sort of throwing a fit over. I think it was more the Animal Crossing one. Maybe we'll get to that. But on Twitter, because no one ever throws a fit on Twitter. But it was like, hey, this is just more exclusivity. Nintendo's the new EA. These are like icons. I think they're nice. I like kind of collecting them myself. Obviously, I like trying to get a hold of all the ones I really love. I kind of like this idea myself. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I'm kind of in the mindset of, hey, you own this game, you've played it some, why not give you a little something extra?
I like the idea. It's almost like an achievement or a trophy in some ways. It's not like it's not something that is going to benefit you in the long run. That's going to give you any kind of benefit. Like, you're not going to sign into Splatoon and be suddenly better at it and be up there with all the pros who are like who are like casually beating us up every single time we do a Splatfest. But
I love that game, but my gosh, I can't win anymore. Anyway.
Oh no, I've triggered. But like, it's cool that like you get access to something just for playing something, and that's cool.
Now, the other one here is for Animal Crossing New Horizons. Kind of the same deal, except you have to play it 3 separate times, so 3 separate days. Not to make it more confusing, but I think it has to be at least 24 hours apart within the next 30 days, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll unlock some special icons for that as well.
There's a lot of icons. I like the idea of this. Too.
I don't know. Maybe I wish maybe there was another way they could do it. Like if it was maybe more of an achievement kind of thing. I'd be cool with that. But I mean, I think that's something kind of neat myself.
I can't.
Makes it a little more worth it. Like, hey, look, I did this. I don't know.
Yeah, like it's just hard for me to like get behind all the Animal Crossing icons because they do. I mean, we've covered it on the show. They do a new set of all the birthday. Like all the animals that have a birthday in that month every single month. And it's like
I don't even think about it half the time. I never look at those.
Animal Crossing,
but I don't really use those ones all that much.
Although I gotta say, Coco there, staring deeply into my soul, there on the middle on the left, like she is like one of my all-time favorite like Animal Crossing characters. I have an amiibo card for her. I have her, Lucky, and Raymond, and those are like my top 3, like my all-time favorite Animal Crossing villagers that have ever been in the games. And
they're not cool. Bob is the best, obviously. But,
lies.
They're cool.
Lies.
Honestly, I liked Bob before Bob was cool.
I'm leaving. Anyway. I'm quitting the show now. It's yours now. You can. I'm just kidding. Oh man. Then we go to events though, don't we?
I know I sat on that for a while, but I like those. Yeah, there's no game trial, so for the end game events, I'm going to do this a little out of order here, actually, kind of in the date. They are both for Splatoon. Well, the first 2 are both for Splatoon 3. Here's a big run, which I surprisingly haven't participated much in. Coming up this weekend, March the 8th through March the 10th. And, of course, that's where, like, the Salmonoids will go on some of the Turf War stages. I do all the Splatfest, always have since the first one, but I haven't done a whole lot of these, and I am actually very free this Friday. So anybody want to jump in and team up and join me in this? I'm cool with that. Now the other one is, of course, a Splatfest, and it is March the 22nd through the 24th. This one is drums, guitar, or keyboard. Cody, what are you leaning towards first before I say anything?
Dude, honestly, so here's the deal. I don't know. Like, there's not like one thing that like I love out of all of these more than the other. I mean, I learned how to play guitar. I have an idea how to do keyboard. I don't have the coordination for drums, so like drums are out. Like drums are out for me. I can tell you that much. So like guitar and keyboard are probably the ones that I'm leaning toward one or the other. But realistically, I mean, it just depends on what chat or the community wants to go with. Like, I'd like to be able to jump on and play throughout the weekend and maybe win sometimes, So if you're watching, you're watching in the live chat and you wanna do some Splatfest action with us, which I'm sure we'll do this live. Let me know what team you guys want to go with. Obviously, Big Man's gonna be keyboard. Like, he's the last one on there, right? So like he's keyboard. Oh, yeah. So if you guys want,
he's the coolest.
He is,
but I don't go off of the character. I go off of what I want you to do. So I'm going to say guitar.
Oh, you're going to say guitar? You're going with guitar?
Yeah. I don't feel super strong either way. I have a guitar. Danielle and them got it for me for Christmas. I tried to learn it, and kind of okay. I don't know. I need to go back and try it some more, but I would probably still go with guitar myself. So,
okay. Yeah. We'll leave it up to the community. I mean, obviously we have until the 22nd to fully decide what team we want to roll with. So community, you tell us what you want to do. We'll play some Splatfest. We'll join the team that community wants, and then we can kind of go there. Emperor Gone Best on the live chat, probably the only one who can play considering Big Man has no hands, being keyboard. He just dun with his like one giant fin in between each key.
Ends or his head or something.
Oh man, I'm so down for it. What else is in the events, my friend?
The rest here, we got Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which I was like, I might actually turn this on again, and I never did. But there are Terra raids for the mighty Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard. I believe the only one left is Blastoise. And it is March the 5th through March the 12th for Blastoise.
No, that's the second one. Blastoise is the second one so far. Then Charizard's the last one.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. Yep, Charizard will be the last one.
Yep. So you've got Blastoise rolling in. I can't remember which version of Blastoise it is. It says it on still Terra type Blastoise. So you're going to be able to snag him starting today all the way through the 12th. So that's cool. I'm down for that. I'm totally down for that. But Charizard, I think, is the one that everybody still says is their favorite. But if you were playing early, Charizard was one of the first Terra raids that they offered, and they've offered Charizard a couple of times then, I think, since the original Terra raid that they did with him. So I don't know, it was pretty cool. I meant to get the Venusaur, and then I totally spaced.
Yeah, same here.
Forgot to get the Venusaur because I really like. Bulbasaur is my favorite Pokemon of all time. And I know I'm base for that, but like it's one of those things like I really like Bulbasaur. So, Ms. Nerdwire, get out of the live chat in here saying Donnie is my favorite. Donnie's a turtle!
Yeah, I mean, it's close enough.
Absolutely.
I mean, Raph's my favorite, but that's a whole other can of worms.
Well, that does kind of wrap up the event segment, though, doesn't it? So
yes, it is. That is it. Nothing.
Are going to jump into our main topic for the day. So we'll see you after the jump. So, there was a lot of courtroom drama this past week concerning...
Don't say courtroom.
Courtroom drama. I'm going to trigger you. Courtroom drama this past week concerning the Switch emulator Yuzu versus Nintendo. Now, here's the deal. So, Yuzu, to catch you guys up, is an emulator.
I'm sorry.
That is capable of emulating Nintendo Switch games if you can get the ROMs for them. They're not called ROMs anymore. I forget what the file type is, but it was a way to be able to play Switch games. And a lot of people played like the leaked games on Yuzu. Yuzu had compatibility with Steam Deck that was really, really good. Yuzu could run on your PC. And it was just one of those things that just made the newer games accessible, but leaked games would happen. They would come out and people would be playing them a week or more early on Yuzu. Now, this happened this past week. Essentially, Nintendo filed a lawsuit against Yuzu, and their allegations against Yuzu was that it unlawfully circumvented the technological measures on Nintendo Switch games to protect them from being able to be pirated, right? So they said Yuzu makers accessed Switch games from a hacked Switch and made at least one copy of each, right? Another big problem, because as we know, emulation in itself is not illegal, but distributing ROMs is. Distributing digital media is. Whether it be for free or for profit, does not matter how you do it. If you're distributing it, it's a problem, right? They were seeking restitution for damages, and one of the things they cited in the court case is that they believe that Yuzu's existence and the ability to get these games and play them resulted in last year's release of Tears of the Kingdom being downloaded 1 million times before its official launch. And that's what caused some of their sales to be low. So, as we know, Nintendo's
low,
right?
Yeah.
Nintendo's not been happy with the sales results of Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom, just to catch you guys up on that too, they've sold like 20 million copies. But I want to put this in perspective here, okay? Because one of the things that they compare it to often is the Hogwarts Legacy, selling 22.5 million copies. But Tears of the Kingdom is an exclusive game that released exclusively on the Nintendo Switch, made by exclusively Nintendo. And Hogwarts Legacy released across 6 or 7 platforms, and it was not a console exclusive. If you released Hogwarts Legacy on one of those consoles, approximately 5 million copies would have been sold, right? So if you just on average it across the board, that's probably closer to what they ended up selling on a per console basis. I digress. This is crazy because this happened Tuesday last week. So we didn't know about this news. I don't think we talked about this news last week on Nintendo Rewind. We didn't know about this news yet. It hit, and then it had a week to kind of come to a head. So this week, Nintendo Switch emulator Yuzu agrees and settles outside of court to pay $2.4 million in damages, which means that essentially, like, those 1 million copies of Tears of the Kingdom that they had download is worth $2.40 per each one. Yeah. But okay, profit margins be darned. Like we won't talk about that. But they agreed to pay $2.4 million to Nintendo and cease development on their emulator. Okay, that's not the only other piece of news that's notable in this too. There were a couple of other things that are expectations for them. So they're ceasing development on the Switch emulator Yuzu. They are turning over the rights to yuzu-emu.org, their website where they distributed the emulator through. This company also created Citra, which is a well-known 3DS emulator. They're no longer able to distribute Citra. So, stray bullet in the 3DS direction, okay? Stray bullet in the 3DS direction. But I digress. They also have to hand over any of the hacked consoles that they had in their possession that was able to dump ROMs off of them, so that way they could distribute them. The thing that really kind of complicates this a little bit more too is that they had a Patreon where you could choose to support their development of Yuzu. Now, that in and of itself, not a big deal. But because emulation is legal, right? The problem is they were using that money, according to Nintendo, to be able to get their games and be able to distribute them, making at least one copy of games and distributing them. So that's kind of the problem here as far as that goes. Now, that is the final judgment. That's what Yuzu is doing. We got their official tweet. Official tweet was available yesterday on March 4th. They said, "Hello users and Citra fans." My apologies, I can't read today. "We write today to inform you that Yuzu and Yuzu's support of Citra are being discontinued effective immediately. Yuzu and its team have always been against piracy. We started the projects in good faith out of passion for Nintendo and its consoles and games, and we're not intending to cause harm, but we see now that because our projects can circumvent Nintendo's technological protection measures and allow users to play games outside of authorized hardware, they have led to extensive piracy. In particular, we have been deeply disappointed when users have used our software to leak game content prior to its release and ruin the experience for legitimate purchasers and fans. We have come to the decision that we cannot continue to allow this to occur. Piracy was never our intention, and we believe that piracy of video games and on video game consoles should end. Effective today, we will be pulling our code repositories offline, discontinuing our Patreon accounts and Discord servers, and soon shutting down our websites. We hope our actions will be a small step toward ending piracy of all creators' works. Thank you for your years of support and for understanding our decision." Which is like corpo speak for, hey, we messed up. Like at the end of the day.
You got caught.
Right? And here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you make a product that can do what that product did, it should come as no surprise that it will be used for nefarious purposes. Okay? So I'm not surprised by any of that. I'm really like on the fence about how I feel about some of the stuff that is going on here. And part of what we wanted to talk about with this today is kind of our stances more so on emulation as a whole. Is it legal? Yes. Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it moral or immorally wrong? Like what, how would you feel about it? But all of that being said, before we dive into that, what are your thoughts on the whole Yuzu situation, Josh? And then I'll give mine.
As for me, and again, just to put myself out there from the beginning, I'm not super familiar with like what's technically legal and what's not. However, I do kind of feel like, again, in this bubble, that Nintendo was sort of right. I'm not saying that maybe the timing was a little off if they're claiming that Zelda was the reason why they decided to finally step this up. It seems a little odd, like especially for that fairly insignificant number compared to how many they really did sell. It was almost just like they were kind of looking for a reason. I mean, I do see the problem there, though. I mean, essentially they were, in a way, the way I'm seeing it at least, they were stealing what was Nintendo's property, and they are a business. You can't really just steal something and then expect to just give it out and sell it. Well, not technically sell it. They had a Patreon, but I don't know. I sort of feel like Nintendo was right, at least in this. Um, I think there's more to it than that, but I think in this particular situation, yeah, that's what needed to happen.
Yeah. I mean, so here are my thoughts on a lot of this, right? So there are two things here that that causes me to be on opposite sides of the fence. The first thing is that ownership of a property belongs ultimately to the creator of that property, or should, right? So Nintendo makes a thing. If they don't want you to play it, they have no obligation to let you play it because they made it. It's theirs at the end of the day. They own it. They can decide the fate of that. So I am definitely on that side where, yes, I agree with Nintendo on the sense that they don't want their stuff stolen, right? Or at least redistributed. Okay? So like I understand that. But here's the thing that I don't like. And this is where I land on the side of the fence where I think to an extent Nintendo overstepped and used what I would call kind of a legal loophole to get around the whole emulation is legal thing. And it's their claim about violation of DMCA. So the whole thing is not about them being an emulator or even really the piracy part of it. It is the violation of DMCA rules. So what their problem with it is that these users bypassed their security measures that they had in place so they could create digital copies of the video games that they paid the company money for, right? And at the end of the day, they're not going after the, hey, you distributed this. They're going after the, you bypassed our security measures aspect of it. And that's where I have a huge problem with this, because that is a step in the wrong direction for video game preservation as a whole. I can't help but say that. Like, that is a step in the wrong direction for video game preservation as a whole. Because if someone can go, oh, well, you violated our DMCA. If you violated our DMCA, that means that you've broken the law. You're under arrest. Like, whatever the law decides to do, then the whole standard of the rights to digital media and the ability to make copies for yourself comes into question. If I wanted to make a copy of that game for myself, I could be held in some sort of responsibility of court. I don't like that part of this. I do not like that part of this. And it's frustrating that it is a hit and it's a slippery slope toward getting rid of emulation as a whole. And that may kind of tease a little bit about what I'm about to talk about with, is emulation right, wrong, immoral, or moral. But I'm going to stop there. Because we have a couple of things in the live chat here. Ned is actually saying that the Yuzu code is open source. And they're already working on an answer to that, which is called Nuzu. And his stance is piracy is not theft and is not even remotely legally defined as theft. It's copyright infringement, which is absolutely true. And his follow-up statement was, if they had actually challenged it in court, I think they could have won, so it's a shame they folded. And that is kind of the last thing that I do want to say on the whole court case side of it, is that they didn't challenge because they did not have Nintendo level money to be able to hire proper lawyers who would create a good enough case to stand up in court for them. That's what I genuinely believe. And that's why I think they just said, hey, we'll give you the $2.4 million over a set amount of time. We'll turn over all of our rights to everything and then see what ends up happening. So that's where I'm at with it on the court side of it. Do I think Nintendo's right? By definition, yes. By moral obligation, I don't know. And that's what we're going to get into. So I've spoken enough. Now we're going to get into the part of the show where we talk about how we feel about emulation, and what you think about it, where you land on it. Josh, is emulation right? Is it wrong? Is it morally incorrect or just in a gray area somewhere? Like, where do you land on it, my good sir?
I don't know if there really is a clear answer for it. I think in a lot of ways it's a tool, so there's not really a right or wrong to it. It just depends on how it's used. One thing you pointed out that I think is has been a little bit of a problem because I've looked a lot into one thing I just sort of like watching YouTube videos of and looking into for whatever reason has been like lost media in different forms. And there's a lot of things out there that's just completely disappeared. Some of those being games. And without emulation, I know there are several that would be gone for good at this point. A few things that have resurfaced that way even. So yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of ways it can be used for good stuff. I think for me, the area that just, again, maybe I'm thinking simplistic here, but that rubs me the wrong way is if this company is selling something, I don't see it being okay for someone to buy one copy of it and then just make a bunch of copies of it themselves so other people don't have to. Does that make sense?
It does.
To me, something there just doesn't seem quite right. Now, if someone's trying to download, I wish I could think of a good example.
A car?
Car, yes, no. I was thinking more of an actual game. So, like, I'm going to say one completely out of left field, but it's one that comes to mind for me because it was cool. It was fun. It was Clay Fighter 63 and a third, the director's cut edition, okay? For like the N64. That's probably never going to resurface again. Now, we don't know that. So even then, I almost contradict myself a little bit, but for that, I don't think it really matters. For the most part, I'd go ahead and download it. Go ahead and make copies of it. Keep it safe somewhere. Now, again, if it's like the next big Switch game, I really don't think it should be just openly released like a week before street date even. That's where things I think get really hairy. It's very much, I guess, a gray area. And kind of one of these things where it's like, this is why we can't have nice things.
Absolutely.
I don't know if there was really a clear answer for it, even on the bigger company side, like Nintendo, or the little people. Is like, I don't think you should completely get rid of it. I don't think it in itself is bad or evil or illegal or whatever. But I really don't know the answer to keeping people from taking advantage of that power.
Right.
I think right now we're just sort of at a point where there's not a great answer for it.
I disagree. I have the right answer. And I'll tell you why I have the right answer. So one of the things that that Nettis has brought up in here is that people who would pirate, right? The people who would pirate things would never have bought it in the first place, and he's never once seen evidence to the contrary. I will be the evidence to the contrary, but I will start with this, okay? So piracy, at the end of the day, and we're not debating piracy. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about emulation as a whole, right? But piracy is a symptom of inaccessibility, right? So if you cannot get it, then you are going to pirate it. And that means if it is prohibitively expensive, if it is not on a regular market anywhere, if it is in whatever way it blocks you from being able to access this thing, you are going to find a way to access that thing if you want it badly enough, right? I don't think we can say that piracy at the end of the day is or is not stealing. I have a hard time defining that for me in my own take. Would I say that it is stealing, right? So is that morally wrong? Is that morally right at that point? Well, because it's been taken away from me, is it okay for me to take it back? Well, at that point, is it a public work? Is it something that deserves to be handed out to the public? And again, this kind of goes back to my whole point, is that ownership should always reside in the creator's hands to decide with how they want that to go. But if I've already had a copy of that and I create a copy of that for myself, that is for me, and that's totally legal. right? That's not wrong.
Yeah.
But if I go on the internet to I'm not going to mention any ROM sites. I almost did. And I was like, whoa, hold on. I don't want to send you guys there.
You don't know of any of those. You've never seen any of those.
I've never once downloaded a cart. But like if I go on there and I download a game, did I do something wrong? Have I done something illegal? Right? So that is neither here nor there. I have done something illegal. Did I do something morally wrong? That's the question that I would ask about that. Now, the thing that I'm talking about, though, tonight is emulation. Is it right, wrong, morally gray, morally right, morally wrong? And for me, like, I think it lands in this gray area, just like you said. I think it lands in this gray area of being morally right, morally wrong. It just really depends on the situation. My stance on emulating games has always been this, and I've said as much for anyone who's watched me for any period of time on Nerdwire Plays or wherever I've talked about this. I fully believe emulation is something that people should be able to have access to, and that you should be allowed to do regardless of the situation. You should be allowed to do it. You absolutely should. There shouldn't be anything that stops you from being able to do that. But downloading games, the only time that I am 100% okay with it is if it is extinct media, if it's extinct media, if it's prohibitively expensive to get a copy of, or if I just want it. No, I'm kidding. I don't feel that way. But at the end of the day, what I want to have happen is the developers get the support that they deserve. The developers get the support that they deserve. They put in the work on that, right? So they created this product. They should get the money for it. But I can't get Mother 3 in America land reading it in English. That is extinct media for me. So in order for me to experience that, the only option I have is to go pirate it and have a fan translation of it that got distributed to me. That is my only opportunity to be able to play that. At that point, that creates accessibility, right? Now, one of my examples that I want to share is like Trip World, for instance. When I first saw Trip World, I knew I wanted to play that game. It's a Game Boy game that came out in 1992. Like, it wasn't available anywhere. It wasn't. So I downloaded a ROM of it, and I loved the ROM so much, I bought a bootleg copy of the game. And I loved that bootleg copy of the game so much that I really wanted a real physical copy. But the problem is buying a real physical copy was prohibitively expensive. At the time, it was $400 to $700 for a Game Boy game. The reason being is it was extremely rare. It was made only in Japan, distributed only in Japan and Germany, and it never came to America. So in order for me to even be able to play that game, I would have to pay $400 to $700. It was prohibitively expensive for a 5-minute game. I'm not going to do that, you know? So now you fast forward a few years, though. I've loved this game. I loved this game. Limited Run decides that they're going to start coming out with Trip World DX. I paid money for not only one copy, not only 2 copies, but 3 copies of the game. And the way that I supported that by telling everybody who knew about it, who I knew rather, about it, and I had a bunch of friends who ended up picking it up too in real life. And this supported Sunsoft, the original creators of the game, and Yuichi Ueda, the actual creator of the game, and made it a legal option to be able to have a game that was prohibitively expensive and extremely rare in a collection. I've got it sitting on my shelf back here, my copy of the game, both copies, because I bought it on the Switch, I bought it on the Game Boy Color, and I bought it Switch digitally because Limited Run takes a little while to get their games out there to the public. But you know, hey, it is what it is. But that is one example of when I pirated something, I eventually went and spent my hard-earned money on it. Now, I'll also talk about Super Mario Bros. Wonder Leagues. Okay. Did I do the right thing? Not at the time. I had that game downloaded like the week before it came out, and I was playing it, and I loved it, and it was such a good experience. But I followed up to buy the real physical copy. Right? Because I wanted to support my developers, and I wanted to have something in my collection. Ned is in the live chat. I'm calling Doug Bowser right now. Listen, me and Dougie B, we go a long way back. I got pictures with him. But that being said, like, I did the right thing later by supporting the developer, but I wanted to play the game. And that was, it was a symptom of inaccessibility, why I did the piracy, right? I'm admitting to it right here, right now. Court people, don't come after me. But
I don't know anybody in the court system.
Thank you. But it was one of those, I would say in that situation, that was morally wrong, probably at the end of the day.
I feel like you did. I feel like what you did wasn't really all that wrong. I don't know. I know I'm going in circles, but I mean, you made up for it. You still supported them. You didn't really screw over the developers of it in the long run. If anything, especially with like Trip World, I think you helped, and you probably helped bring some attention to that game.
Yep.
I didn't know it existed, and I know I try to keep up with a lot of like Nintendo history and stuff like that. I even made a Mario Maker level after Trip World after that. Like, it kind of got my attention. So I think in a lot of ways it does do good. Now, not everybody would do that though. Like with Mario Wonder, they could have downloaded it 2 weeks before the game came out, played it, and been done with it. Instead of deciding to spend their $60 on it. I don't know. Like, whose place is it to say? Mm-hmm. You can't really legislate morals.
No.
So I just don't know if there's really any way to control that. You either have it or you don't. You either have emulation out there and people can take it, go Wild West with it, or it's just not there at all. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's, again, I feel like there's not a great answer to it right now.
No. It's one of those things where it's hard to say, hey, this is wrong. I don't think it's wrong in and of itself. And for a majority of people who are playing on, I mean, if you're a content creator on Twitch and you're playing gameplay, most of the time you're emulating something. Most of the time, if you're doing retro games, it is hard to find that many people running actual hardware on their PCs. Like, there's just no way. The vast majority of people have to be either emulating it if they're doing retro stuff, or they're just hardcore enthusiasts who can run old school stuff on their streams. But I don't buy that narrative that much. But it is one of those things where, again, I mean, if I had to give my final stance on it, I would say this. I think emulation is actually good for the games industry. I think it is good for the games industry, because what it does is it does entice people who would have never played your games or bought into your system or done anything. It gives them accessibility to be able to know what you are creating, and therefore may in turn create a consumer out of that. But my official stance is I don't think that there is anything morally wrong or right about emulation. It depends on the circumstance. And if you can, support your developer. That's my official stance on it. Support your developer. If there's a legal means to be able to get it, support your developer. Unless they're a mean developer who gives a bunch of layoffs, in which case go pirate all you want. But I'm just kidding.
Yeah, still from Activision. Anyway,
there we go.
No, I honestly think I agree with you in a lot of ways on that. Again, emulation is like a tool. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. And who's to say, I don't think it's our place. For me, I think I could go in circles on this all night. For something like Super Mario Land 1, it's not on the Switch right now. But does that mean I can just go and emulate it since I can't play it anywhere else, currently? Is that really my place to say that? Maybe Nintendo's going to release it tomorrow. I don't know.
In which case, you can delete your ROM and play it on your Switch then.
Yeah, it's just it can be a really complicated mess.
Yep.
And I don't think one thing I've seen, at least on social media, is certain people get really frustrated with oh, that company has millions of dollars anyway. They're fine. You know, don't help the company, whatever. They're rich. Does that mean it's okay to potentially be like pirating from them, to be, messing up their sales, to kind of be maybe quote unquote stealing? I don't think that really makes it right just because they have a ton of money.
No.
It's just me.
Yeah, I'm with you. It doesn't make it right.
But
Like at the end of the day, to pirate.
I see what you're trying to say, but I still
Yeah.
don't think it makes it right.
No.
So, but yeah, I think in a lot of ways, and especially from a more creative side, that I'd like to be a little stronger in. I do think in a lot of ways it's been good, and it's helped preserve a lot of things.
Yes.
It's helped a lot of things from completely just disappearing. Again, I've been watching a 10-hour lost media like video on YouTube recently. I don't know. I just like looking into that kind of stuff. And again, a lot of things are like saved by like files that have been dumped from something, maybe even like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's like the only way to get a hold of it. And there's, like you said, with Trip World, it was like, what was it, like $400 for some Game Boy game? Which again, even if he would have paid that $400, he wouldn't have been helping the developer. He'd have been helping whoever was overpricing it on eBay.
It would have been secondhand in every way, secondhand.
So, I mean, in my opinion, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but why not just download the thing at that point instead of just helping some random person trying to sell their collection? But anyway.
Thank you for coming to the dark side, Joshua.
Yeah. I know I go back and forth on this one a lot. I'm internally struggling with it myself. But no, just try to have a little bit of morals to you, when you go about your emulating ways, if you can, just try to do the right thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that kind of wraps it up for the main topic today. Let's go over to some extra Nintendo news. We got some good news, actually. Out of all of these layoffs and everything that's been happening, which has been terrible for the games industry just as a whole. Like, so many people have lost their jobs. Like, about 90% of the layoffs that have happened in the last 3 years happened within the last, 4 months in the games industry. And it really sucks. Yeah. And my heart goes out for those people because, that's terrible. The amount of layoffs has been terrible. But Toys for Bob used to belong to whom, Josh? Who was Toys for Bob originally part of?
Activision, of all things.
Yep, Craptivision. Craptivision. Yeah. So I won't say any more about that, but they did announce, Toys for Bob just recently announced that they are going indie, which is great news. For those of you who don't know who Toys for Bob are, they were the ones who were responsible for the Spyro and the fantastic Crash Bandicoot remakes that we recently saw come to other consoles besides PlayStation. They also made the follow-up Crash Bandicoot 4. And that game was phenomenal. Their official press release, it's pretty short, but it's also a little bit long. But essentially what they said is, with the same enthusiasm and passion, they believe now is the time to take the studio and their future games to the next level. To make this news even more exciting, they're exploring a possible partnership between their new studio and Microsoft. And while they're in the early days of developing a new game and a ways away from making any announcements, their team's excited to develop new stories, new characters, and new gameplay experiences. So what that tells me is that we're most likely not going to be seeing a whole lot of classic content being remade from this studio, but I'm fine with that. They showed their chops with Crash Bandicoot 4. They did a really, really good job with that game. And on top of that, to see them be able to do some new stuff and pioneer in the games industry would be good. The thing that kind of gives me some hesitancy is that they're looking at a partnership with Microsoft. They were owned by Activision. Yeah. Microsoft owned Activision. So, do they really want to hitch their horse back to that cart again? It's hard to say, that's a good idea. This seems like a really, really bad idea, but that is exciting. I'm hoping that they just kind of do some things on their own and, no longer just have to, tweak guns for Call of Duty. They actually, just do their own stuff. But it was exciting to see them going indie. Next up on the list, Pioro is back. Pioro is back. So we talk about this guy often. He's a very well-known leaker. He knows everything that's happening with Nintendo Directs pretty often. And this was interesting. No Context Super Mario had tweeted, "Hey Nintendo, I think it would be really awesome and cool if you dropped more news about this in March 10th." Which included a screenshot of the logo for Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, the remake that we still don't have like a release date on. So Pioro retweets this and he says, Martin Day, or Mario Day, falls on Sunday this year, but ... And then he followed that up with, also this one, and it's a GIF, and I'm going hard G on that GIF. It's a GIF, debate in the comments, of Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon. So it would be really cool if we did get like a Nintendo Mini Direct that is like Mario themed. I have seen it where they do a presentation on this pretty often around this time of year to talk about Mario stuff that they're doing. It happened very prominently on the 35th anniversary of Mario. And which, by the way, Josh, I don't know if you realize this, but it's one more year until the 40th anniversary of Mario. Time is moving too fast.
Getting old together.
No, we are. I remember it like yesterday where I was trying to get pins for you. So
yeah,
but
we managed to get them too.
I'm excited. I hope that they do something. I really, really want to play Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. The remake. It's been so long. I have physical copies of it. I have two. I actually sent one to a guest of the show for Histowii, Ryan Black. I sent one copy to him in the mail so that way he could play it. I've played it and I still have another copy of it, but like I want the modern remake, the pretty Paper Mario look, the one that we got in Origami King, but with Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door gameplay mechanics. Give me that.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Are you excited for these games, by the way? I would say yes, right? Or no? You're not an RPG guy.
Sure, yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not like, I'm usually not like a big RPG guy, but when it comes to Mario, like that's one of the ones that's one of the ones I go for. Like I've always loved Super Mario RPG. Most of the Paper Mario, 64 is great. Thousand Year Door is great. I like Super, is a little different. You don't really have to worry about Sticker Star. The Color Splash was okay mostly. The part of it died off later on for me for some of the like rock paper scissors stuff. Some of it was okay. Origami King I feel like was a little more back in the right direction. I enjoyed that, going through that with my daughter. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to replay this one. It's been a good while. It's hard to play GameCube games right now. You know, if unless
especially
you have,
with emulation being attacked the way that it is. See the main topic.
You can back up if you missed that one, but no, like I don't hook up my old GameCube really, like on my bigger flat screen TV at this point. Like it just does not look good if you give that a shot, even through the little HDMI port thing I got. It just doesn't work very well. So yeah, I want this back on a modern console. It's been a good while since I've got to play through it. I'm a little disappointing that I feel like there's a bunch of remakes right now, but
yeah, no new IPs other than Princess Peach Showtime coming this month. So
yeah, I feel like we've been waiting on this one though.
Yeah,
for quite a while, and a lot of people's been asking for it. So that's fair.
Absolutely. And then our final piece of news, which still centers around Mario stuff, Nintendo revealed their Mario Day 2024 celebrations. We talked about a couple of things earlier in the show. If you play classic games featuring Mario with Nintendo Switch Online, you get access to some icons. Especially if you're playing Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, you earn some rewards. There are the big reason I have this in here though is there are some deals on games featuring Mario. If you head to the sales and deals page on Nintendo.com or visit the Nintendo eShop on your Nintendo Switch system from March 7th to March 17th, a bunch of the mainline Mario games are $20 off. They're $39.99 each. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Party Superstars, Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which Josh is a huge advocate for. And then on top of that, if you go to retailers, they're $20 off in store. But if you're buying a Nintendo Switch OLED model, or a Nintendo Switch Lite system from Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, and Target, you'll also get a $25 retailer gift card valid through the 10th through the 16th, available while supplies last. They also had the 2 Nintendo sweepstakes for Super Mario Lego and the Black Milk by Super Mario Princess Peach sweepstakes up there earlier in the show, but they're also doing a couple of events. The first thing is Mario Day at Nintendo New York. If you are a New York local, go check out the Nintendo New York store for a meet and greet with Mario and Luigi. You get to shake hands with the mascots. It'll be a good time. And then the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Open starts on March 10th. And you can join an online Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament from noon to 6 p.m. Pacific time. The top 310 players get 1,000 MyNintendo Gold points each. And then the final thing that I do want to share on here is they've provided a free digital guidebook that reveals hidden game references in the Super Mario Bros. Movie that you can watch along with that guide. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm definitely going to download the digital guidebook. I'm probably going to bypass the Mario Kart tournament because there's just too many people.
There's no chance. It's going to be all the same person with the same meta layout. I'm not interested in the competitive scene with that stuff. I'm sorry.
Yep.
It's a neat idea.
It is. It's just not going to be the thing that I end up doing, so I won't be playing that. But the other stuff is still really cool, but it does not match the level of just like awesome that we had for the 35th anniversary. It just doesn't. And I understand it's the 39th. Like nobody cares about 39. They only care about the every fives. But hey, like it's going to be exciting. Either way, go check out all that stuff. And then that does bring us to upcoming games and deals. See you after the jump. So first game on this list, Berserk Boy. Just to kind of put this in perspective, this game looks like Mega Man X on steroids. And I'm so actually very excited for this game. I'm going to fast forward through this like little teaser trailer here to give you some really, really cool like gameplay stuff that they have going on. But you get power-ups. Right through here, Mindbuster, Soaring Wind, Flame Claws, or whatever that was called. But it is so fast-paced and has just like a really, really cool cast of characters. If you are a Mega Man X fan, Berserk Boy is right there where it's at. Is this one you're going to be checking out, Josh?
There's a lot coming out, like little things here and there, so I don't know if I'm going to get it right now. It does look cool, though. I can see me enjoying it. It makes me think a little bit of a game that, for whatever reason, I forget the name of a little bit, that came out a couple of years ago. I think it was Shadow Ninja. I believe that was an indie game.
Cyber Shadow. Cyber Shadow.
That was it.
From I can't remember who developed that. Oh my gosh, it's slipping.
And it was really like fast paced.
That was Yacht Club. It was Yacht Club who developed that.
It was Yacht Club. So yeah, I like this. And it does look obviously a lot like Mega Man X, which I always wanted to like, but the extra life system just kept me from liking it too much. but no, it looks really good. I'll probably add to my wish list, keep an eye out for it for sale, or if nothing else is coming out. So looks like
it does. It's $20 right now, which is like a weird price point. So it has $20 on the placeholder page for it, not $19.99. Right. $20.00. And that is available tomorrow. Description on here: go berserk as you change into different forms and use the power of lightning, fire, ice, air, and earth. Oh, it's the last airbender to save the planet from the evil Dr. Genos. So exciting game. Looks really cool. I'm excited for it. I think I might try to pick this one up. Especially if I win that Mario Kart tournament. Who knows? It's not happening. But that does bring us into our next game. This is Snufkin Melody of Moomin Valley. Right now, available for pre-order price, $17.99. Actual sale price is $19.99. This is going to be available day after tomorrow on the 7th. So if you want to check this out, it's kind of got some like cozy puzzly vibes in it. It looks super cute. They actually featured this one in the latest Nintendo Direct Mini. But you kind of go around to town, you're meeting some people, you're helping out Moomin Mama, and doing some crazy just adventuring. And that's the thing that I like about it. It is music based too, which I personally did not know until watching this trailer. But it is a musical adventure. I've yet to see exactly how deep the music in it is. Like, how much are we actually doing with the music in this game? But it looks cool. It looks cool. It's got a cute art style. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever seen like Over the Garden Wall on Cartoon Network. That's kind of a newer cartoon. I know we're like old people and we don't watch cartoons anymore. We only watch action films. But like, okay. It's one of those games that I would say, hey, go check this out if you're into it. But Over the Garden Wall was super cute. This game looks really cute. It's got like this hand-painted art style to it. So, and then the last game on our list for today is a game I think most people have heard of, from Atlas and Vanillaware. Vanillaware, makers of Odin Sphere Leaf Thrasir and Aegis 13 Sentinels, Unicorn Overlord. This game looks like Final Fantasy Tactics. I mean, we talked about it. There's a demo available on the eShop still yet. You can still go try it out, and all the save data carries over. But it's like Final Fantasy Tactics meets Fire Emblem. And it looks cool. But the name of this game sounds like the most like generic, I made up a game to put into a movie ever. Like, it does not sound like a real game. So, but it looks cool. The food in it looks really, really good. I'll give it that. Like, they've got some good food illustrations. But there are two different versions of it. It's $59.99 for the base version, releases on the 8th, or you can go the Unicorn Overlord Monarch Edition, which for some reason is not going to swap. But the Monarch Edition, what it does is it gives you a digital art book, and it also gives you the digital soundtrack. Oh, it finally swapped. There we go. 16-bit arranged music album, 20 tracks, and 132-page digital art book. From the makers of 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, Odin Sphere, and Dragon's Crown. Rebirth of the Tactical Fantasy RPG. So, I don't think this is going to be one that I'm going to be checking out. Not because I don't think it's going to be good, but because I do not have time for it. But, Josh, where are you landing on it? Are you bypassing this one in lieu of Princess Peach?
Yeah, actually. Nothing against this game, really. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily my cup of tea always. I mean, sometimes I'll hit up stuff like this, but no, I'm probably just leaning towards Princess Peach, especially with my daughter. It looks like a fun, pretty easy time. So
yep, it would be mine.
Probably not this one.
It's right up my alley, but I'm with you. I've got to skip this one because Princess Peach is coming out. That just about wraps up the show. But before we go, we've got to go to Histowii. Welcome to Histowii, the part of the show that is all about Nintendo trivia. In this segment, my co-host Josh is going to try to guess a game that was released within the past week, but years ago. His clues are going to be based on a trivia question, a screenshot, and a random sound effect or song from this game. Josh, as my resident nostalgia nerd, do you feel like you have what it takes to guess this game?
Oh yeah, I'm not scared. I mean, what if I've got what am I, 7-1 or something like that?
You are 7-1, and you should be scared because I absolutely demolished you last week.
Demolished? Yeah, that was pretty darn close.
You were close. You were close. I'm hoping I can have a three-peat. We're gonna have to add a Cody points segment on here too, right below Josh points. I've got 1 point, so it's Josh 7, Cody 1 on stumping Josh. I wanted to be fair because I've been pulling out heavy hitters for the past few weeks. I wanted to be fair, but I think I've got you again this week. Now, if you're watching at home, please feel free to put in your guesses in the live chat. And if you're catching us later on YouTube, pop a comment in there what you think the game is before we get to the end. No cheating. Cheaters get banned. But that being said, we're going to bring out clue number 1 on the board. Starting now. Clue number 1. This 3DS game, available March 5th, 2013, a sequel to a beloved series, released to mixed reviews stating that it's too easy and shallow.
Okay.
Are you ready to move on to clue number 2?
Yep.
Okay.
Move on along.
Clue number 2. Let me get that queued up for you now to come into your chat. I'm sending it to you now, and I'm going to reveal it to the audience at home. This is your screenshot.
Not what I was thinking. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Are you ready for clue number 3?
I guess so.
All right. Clue number 3 is going to be coming to you privately as well. Let me find clue number 3 and then send it to you in our call. Okay. Clue number 3 is coming to you. Let me pull down the theme song for the audience at home. We're going to pull that down, and then we're going to reveal the sound clue to the audience at home. Do you need a repeat?
No, I've listened to it twice already.
I will repeat it for the audience at home real quick, though. Let me repeat that for the audience at home. Oh, play, please. Please play. There we go. And it is playing for the audience at home. Okay.
So I can tell you, I have not played whatever this is.
You've not played whatever this is?
I'm pretty certain I have not. Let's see. I'm trying to tell by this person dying with like the boots what I'm looking at here. It's not Metroid. That wouldn't make any sense. There wasn't a Metroid then. Yeah, I think you're hitting me up with another JRPG or something, aren't you? Trying to get me thrown off here.
I'll give you an additional clue. It is not a JRPG. I would not do that to you 4 weeks in a row. Oh, man.
Oh, gosh. It definitely looks like it has a fairly unique setting there. Looking up at the corner there, you know, kind of like this dark, almost, I don't know if gothic's really the word for it. There's a little like blue smoke. This dude's kind of glowing. Wanted to see the first clue because I couldn't remember the exact date. I was like, oh, maybe it's Yoshi's New Island. I got this. But it's like a sequel, you know, it's a little easy, a little shallow maybe. No, that's not Yoshi's New Island.
Would you like to lock in a final guess? It could be Yoshi's New Island. Who knows?
Yeah, trust me, I know the music for that one. That's not the music for that game. I'm trying to give you a good guess here, but I honestly think I have absolutely no idea.
Can I tell you? I'll give you one more clue. It is a very long title.
I've probably heard of it once you say it, but I don't think I can even guess on one on this one.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah. Unless it's No More Heroes and Knuckles featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
That's so good. All right, let's go over to the Weeville. The game was Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, Mirror of Fate.
Okay.
Do you have any affinity for the Castlevania series, my good sir?
I do. It was more like later on, like 3DS kind of post on. Smash Brothers usually gets my attention to some of this stuff. The NES Mini. I've never played this.
Absolutely.
I've played through some of 4. I like that game. It's a little hard, but it's cool. I played Symphony of the Night was good. I've got the GBA collection downloaded on my Switch, but I've started it twice and got about 5 minutes in and quit. I'll eventually get to that. But I mean, I remember this coming out. I remember seeing the pictures and stuff to it. But I never touched it myself. I don't think I could have. Like looking at that and the Castlevanias I've played, I don't know if I've ever gotten that.
I completely understand. I will say in the live chat, Super Nintendo, he pops in and he says, "How dare you get this one wrong?" Follows up to say Castlevania, then says ban me, and then says it's like Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, Mirror of Fate. So we're gonna give Super Nintendo the point. He gets one Super Nintendo point. But I will say I don't really have any affinity for that game in particular. It is one of those games that Lords of Shadow. It was supposed to be a reboot for the franchise. So it was supposed to be a reboot for the franchise. It ended up not doing too good. This was a sequel to the first Lords of Shadow. They actually ended up doing like an HD version of that game. But it was not one of those games that I would say, hey, you should go out and try. Some of the reviews definitely said that it was incredibly easy. Had a very shallow leveling system, and that the exploration was the main focus of the game, and I understand that, but I thought maybe you might get this one, considering it is from a Castlevania franchise. I mean, there's a whole genre dedicated to Castlevanias, Metroidvanias, you know, so like it's
I know Metroid.
It's one of those things, but Super Nintendo in the live chat also following up to say, without that game, we may have never gotten Metroid Dread, and I can't disagree with him.
That's a great game.
From a visual perspective, if it is very reminiscent of Metroid Dread, or very preminiscent of Metroid Dread, but that being said, I've gotten 2 points now, and we're 2 for 2 this past couple of weeks.
Hey, you got me 2 weeks now.
I can't believe it. And I tried not to go super hard on you this week. I wanted to make sure that you got a chance. So, but without any further ado, and without any more rambling and preamble, Josh, do you want to take us on out of here, my friend?
Sure. I don't know. It's kind of hard to go out on a loss like that. I wasn't even close. Yeah, but I'll go ahead and wrap this up. That wraps up the episode, of course. So, Cody, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Nerdwire Plays pretty much everywhere. So if you go to Threads, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the Twitch, which is where I'm at most of the time. Actually, as a matter of fact, we're doing. I've got a couple of things that I do want to tell the audience about. So the first thing is I'm doing. I cannot get this podcast on Spotify yet. I don't know. I haven't even attempted to do the audio forms. I could. Maybe I'll just get. I'm gonna rope Super Nintendo in on helping me get everything for the audio side set up. He does that perfectly. But I am doing Mario month of Mario on my channel. So if you want to watch me play through every single Mario game that is canonical and like the first party like developed Mario games, Super Mario Bros, Yoshi's Island, Mario Wonder, those style games, I'm beating every single one of those games this month. There's 19 of them, and I'm going to finish them all by March 31st. So you can come by, watch me do that. We're going to be running through those in a canonical Mushroom Memoir storyline, like I mentioned earlier in the show. So come and watch that. But I'm going to be on a show called Arcade Pit on Sunday. For those of you guys maybe not familiar with Arcade Pit, it started on Giant Bomb. It's ran on twitch.tv/smite. And I'll be on there Sunday night with one of our friends, Virtua Cat, who is a guy that has applied to get us onto Arcade Pit, an amazing member of my community. But he's gotten us into Arcade Pit finally. So we'll be on there March 10th, Mario Day, at 8 p.m., doing some challenges. It's like Nick Arcade without the crappy green screen. So I'm excited for that. And then coming up on the 21st of March, I'm doing a Super Mario All-Stars Plus World Randomizer Shuffler where the game changes randomly and I might die a whole lot, but I'm going to be beating all of those games. And I'll tease a little bit more of that when we get a little bit closer. But that's what I got going on. Josh, where can they find you?
You can find me at Whopper744 Games on Twitter or X or whatever. I'm also, of course, on Yeah, the one that I completely just forgot the name of there. Threads. There we go. I'm also on Threads. Most things I am just at Whopper744. And of course, yeah, you can catch me also on Instagram and things like that. A little less game focused there, but yeah. You can catch all of our episodes in video form on YouTube at youtube.com/ at the Nintendo Rewind right now. Please join our Facebook group. Shoot some crazy stuff in there. Get some life going. At facebook.com/groups/Nintendo Rewind, and visit our social media page on Threads and Twitter at Nintendo Rewind. Thank you all very much for watching once again. And remember that you can catch us live here every week, Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Nintendo Rewind.
Thank you, guys. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Bye. Good night.